So the Stoics are take a page from Aristotle. They take a page from Aristotle in thinking that at the center of an emotion is a belief or a cognition or a thought. And that thought, they say, and this is pretty radical, you assent to in a voluntary way. Most of us really don't think that in a full-throated way, but they, especially Seneca, as he lays it out in On Anger, really have a kind of full-throated view of how much in control you are of your emotions. So you say yes to an impression or no to impression. Yes, that I've been dissed, or no, I wasn't psychologically damaged by you. And then you also say yes to how you should react. I'm going to take revenge. I'm going to write a nasty opinion letter to the newspaper about how scandalous or libelous you've been to me. I'm going to gossip behind your back about you, okay, or spread rumors about you. And those are kind of ordinary emotions. A lot of us operate that way, you know. And then of those, there are specifically four kinds. Reactions to what I was giving you is sort of reactions to bads that are out there in the world. Reactions, so that's sort of the anger kind of thing, or it could also be fear or threat, fear to threats. Reactions to things that are attractive out there in the world, goods in the world, so some forms of pleasure. They're specifically with regard to the future is fear of an impending bad. That's fear of a threat, and with regard to the future, a desire, very future-oriented desire to get some good future. So there's sort of goods and bads in the present or past and future, and it makes for four different major genus, you might say, of emotions. Before you have any of these ordinary emotions, most of us have autonomic arousals. You hear, I see a whole audience crying, or I see my daughter crying, and I might start tearing up. Just sort of comes without any warning. I'm in a shipwreck, and famous case, Alice Gellius reports, shipwreck, and even the sage's face goes green. He gets scared. You just are assaulted by an impression of an impending danger or an impending bad out in the world, or it could be a good as well. You have some silly laughter at a sexist joke, but it all comes out, and you didn't assent to it, and it's just there. Those are called Propatheia, or proto-emotions, early onsets emotions, first feelings.
It's exactly what's happening right now, because I'm noticing that as you're smiling and laughing, I'm slow. My mouth starts to smile, and it just happens.
Contagion, right?
That's it.
So the contagion ones. So those, we're told, you could exercise a little more control on them sometimes. Don't nip them in the bud, and make sure they're ones you want to assent to or withhold assent. So we have two classes: first emotions, and they're very much like low-road emotions, as a neurophysiologist, neuropsychologist, neurobiologist told us, Joe Ledoux. He talked about low-road emotions. They don't quite get to the top of your brain. They're somehow in the they're part of your sympathetic and parasympathetic system. And that's very prescient for them even to think about that stuff. Then you get ordinary emotions that you're assenting to, and you're assenting to the reaction behaviors as well. And at the core of all these are impressions. You're being hit by an impression, and you're reacting to an impression. So there's a cognition, a thought thing going on. Most elevated of the three classes of emotions are called the good emotions, or eupathei, for like eugenics, good, good genes. And they are ones in which you've really cultivated what you're viewing as the goods out there. They're not going to be, it's not the threat out there isn't going to be of the bear that's in front of you. Maybe you'll have a little proto threat of that. Mm-hmm. But the threat out there is that you're going to do something bad, vicious, morally bad. Okay, so that's called wariness, or good wariness, good caution about slipping into evil.
So is that kind of what people would call like your conscience? That
could be, but this is only at the elevated stages of being a sage.
Yeah,
very stable. They never get the judgment wrong. Full consistency in their knowledge base. And then there's also joy in being virtuous. Really being virtuous. So we're talking about almost divine-like emotions. They're the epitome of what you might strive toward. And so we've got good we've got good kind of caution, we've got good kind of joy, and we also have good kind of desire. It's called good wish or deliberative desire, rational desire. You are going for virtuous deeds. Very stable, consistent way. You never get your judgments wrong. You don't assent to the wrong things, et cetera, et cetera. So there's beginning emotions or autonomic arousals almost. You get ordinary emotions. Most of us are having those. And then you have good emotions. The journey in emotional cultivation and moral training is in letting go of some of the ordinary emotions. Fear at the bear, fear at loss of your son when he's going skiing in a really, 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 really dangerous place.
Yeah.
Fear that your husband may or mother may be headed for a horrible, horrible dementia or stroke, something like that, is to get rid of some of that and instead control the stuff you can control, which is avoidance of vice and cultivation of virtue. So they really do view that a lot of the growth and moral growing and striving to be good is through emotional management, emotional regulation, so that you give up some of the worry and fret about the stock market failing, about the fires in Australia. And you focus on the doing good deeds, the never doing something that's shameful, and taking joy in those good deeds, and in a very cautious way, making sure you don't fall prey to the wrong sorts of influences and misinformation, sort of a false facts, you might say. False, false news.
The fake news in our own minds.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you call it an encouragement to get out of the past and the present and come to like what you can do right now, right? Because it seems like a lot of fears and a lot of desires are based in places other than where we are right now, right? And it's,
well, you might say though, in looking at the fires in Australia, you might say, I not only need to do things environmentally that will reduce carbon out there and fossil fuel usage, but I need to encourage others. So that's something you can do. But on the other hand, this is a big Stoic lesson. They're into striving and striving and striving without getting hung up on the outcome. right? It's an internal journey, not an external journey.
Yeah.
That means, though, I mean, I have to ask myself, if everything I do comes to naught, and I can't make any dent in the world, say environmentally, or say I'm a violinist and I go on the stage and night after night my Stradivarius breaks, and there I am playing a Beethoven sonata, and the strings pop. I'm not going to be invited back to Kennedy Center or Lincoln Center or the Sydney Opera House. It's not happening. There's a certain amount of insulation from outcome we can take, and enough and at some point that we're just sort of aiming at doing well versus aiming at versus trying to get some of the things we're aiming at realized in the world. I think does have to sort of let me start that sentence again. At some point we need to realize that there can be enough failure of outcome that the greatest insulation we have, or protection policies we take out against outcome success, still won't protect us fully.